And our guest is on the line. And this is going to be, I can tell you, a very interesting day for her because she has gone on a different road. She has been quite a few and done pretty well. She's now taken the political route. Good morning, Ethnie Simpson. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Mr. Darby. I'm doing well, and how are you?
Well, you don't get the big salary and come give somebody money, so I'm not doing well right now.
I don't know what money you speak of. I have no idea.
Well, I understand that with the big money should attract talented people, but I wonder, is it the money that attracted you to enter into politics or you just want to serve?
No, I just want to serve. I actually came in before all of that, so that does not apply to me at all.
I hear you. Now, you are in Christiana?
Yes.
That's Manchester.
I am in the Spring Ground Christiana area.
Okay.
If you know, how well do you know this part of the country?
Hold on. Don't let me cut you off, That's very disrespectful, We are talking about how well do I know that. Hello. Interviews about you, not me. Let me tell you. Me used to play a Sacred Heart Church. We used to play a Spalding's United Church. Me a come a Christian.
Right.
Me used to come a Christian for me a little picnic. What do you?
Uh-huh.
When Buster come a shortly. Alright, and me Vernon, a little boy go up on stage, go give big speech. I stay there.
Okay, well, you started from early.
Me left long time and guess what? The passport, me no passports are good. Next thing we need passport to come back.
You need a passport.
Oh, yes.
And a visa.
Under visa. Now, that constituency, that's the constituency that Mr. Orley Shaw?
Yes, correct.
Oh, by the way, he's my schoolmate.
Oh. We have a lot in common, here and there, because we actually went to Knox High School as well. And so
hold on. This is getting too much now. I'm a Knox High, and so is my producer. But what do you?
Yes, well, we just mix up, that's all. We just mix up.
Great. Now, tell me a bit about yourself, your early life. Now, you went to Knox, but tell me about those early days, even before you went to Knox.
Wow. When people ask me this question sometimes, it's a little tough for me because I think I had a very simple and average life. I grew up like most Jamaican children did. I have two brothers. I don't have a sister.
What?
So I was a tomboy all my life. Not that people can see it, no, because they say, no, so you're so ladylike. But a childhood memory that I have is going to tie out goats with my brother, my older brother.
Oh, Lord, that is nice to tie out goats. When that early morning,
every morning.
And they tell you must get the dew water and put it here so your hair can't soft.
Precisely, and I was soaked from head to toe, but it's a happy childhood memory, and that's a memory that many of us as kids, Jamaican children, we have that. And for some, it's not a positive one because they didn't enjoy it. But I can remember many
you not enjoy that?
To tie out goats with him.
Yeah, man.
Yes?
Nice, man. Good. Nah. Oh, boy. And you milk goat to and cow and all them stuff. I would never exchange that life for urban living. Oh, no. That's living life.
And I've done both. Mm-hmm. I've done both. And there are days when you say to yourself, no, really and truly, I think I'm most at peace in the country. Mm-hmm. Rural life is a blessing. It's not privilege sometimes, depending on how you look at it. So my early life was really around being an average child, going to school. Your parents told you.
Which school you went to before Knox?
Sorry?
Which school you went to before you went to Knox?
Oh, Spalding Primary. My mother taught at Spalding Primary as well.
Really?
So teacher picked me. So the teacher picked me.
Bad pick me.
It's not the most loved pick me at school. No, and a bad pick me. Them just not like you because you're teacher. Your mother is a teacher.
Is a teacher. And Miss Easy used to teach at Spalding's Primary. But she's passed
Yes, she taught there. Mm-hmm. Yes. And, it was really around just enjoying your life as a child. The other thing for me in my early life, being well protected in a community.
Yes.
And that is something that I have held very close to me because last year we lost one of our comrades here who, when we were growing up, Comrade Pilachi in Spring Ground, was a big part of my life. Because once you're walking home from school or you're walking to school,
what happened to that?
He would make sure
what happened to him?
That you're okay.
What happened to him?
Again?
What happened to him?
He had an accident at home and he passed.
Oh, Lord.
He slipped and fell and hit his head and he
No,
passed.
that's a dangerous thing. I wonder if it's in the bathroom.
Yes.
In the bathroom?
Yes. Yes.
Listen, if and when you become member of parliament, you see, you must make a law to lock up all those who design the bathrooms. There's a place made so that you have accidents. It is wrong with it to
It's
redesign.
dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Yeah.
This curve, look at you and like a soap dropping there, just slip in it. No, man. Anyhow,
It
so you
is
went to
dangerous.
Knox. So what happened to you after you went to Knox?
No, repeat. I'm having a distortion on the phone. So I'm not
Right.
hearing
When you
clearly.
after you left to Knox now, high school, where you went to after that?
After high school, I went to Shortwood Teachers College. I became a teacher.
Okay.
And it's a funny story. I really, all my childhood life, wanted to be a nurse. And I remember when I applied to Kingston School of Nursing, I got the letter. You know, when you get registered letter at the post office, you're all excited. And
big excitement.
The whole community hear about it. And
or you get telegram.
Well, that is it. So applied, got through, I did the exam, got through, and I remember the administrator at the school came downstairs and I was sitting there with my mother, just waiting now for the fabric, because they always give the fabric to make your uniform.
Yes.
And she looked at my grades and she said, well, you were successful and you actually got in. But you're a little young and you have math at a 3. Because at that time, the math pass at a 3 was not accepted. Really. It was just, coming in. And she said, I think if it was September, when I'm pressed to fill my quota, I would take you. But I have some time, this is June, I might get other students who have higher passes to their book. You know what? And you're very young. I think I was, 16, 17? She said, go back and do the math and come back. And I looked at this lady like, are you serious? This is what I've been dreaming of all my life. I have performed surgeries on every single doll, every single toy.
By the way, make a note of that, you see. If you get into the political arena, hold on there. Remember, make a note of that. Those experiences, I hope you carry them into politics too, because that is something that needs to change. When you finish, I'll come back to that again.
Yes. And she said to me, no, man, go back and do the math and come back. I cried all the way from Kingston to country.
My God.
And as fate would have it, I went back, enrolled at Knox Community College. And Helen Stills was the principal at the time.
My former Knox teacher too?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And she actually said to me, she said, Ethnie, I think you have more in you than you think. Why don't you do A-levels and go to university? And
hold off. You see what she saw? She was looking for a subject. And by the way, probably she's part of the reason why I'm here around this microphone. She saw something in you.
Yes.
Not the subject.
I speak of her all the time. Because Mrs. Still said that to me, and she said, why don't you do A-levels? And I said, let me think about it. I came home, talked to my parents about it. Daddy was excited, and Daddy said, yes, he wanted me to go to university, and Mommy was like, okay, all supportive. And I applied, started A-levels, I got through with my A-levels. But I will share something with you before I move on.
Yes.
Helen Still did more than just help us with subjects, because it is through her I got involved in service. I got involved in the Lions movement as a Leo Club member. And she would pack us up in her little car. Or there were times when we had larger events, she would, use the school vehicle to transport us safely to a meeting in Old Harbor, Lions Club meeting, all over the place, even the convention that they had in Kingston. So from very early, there was a group of us that she worked with. We built that Leo Club. I became Leo Club president at one point. I started as a secretary, became the president. And that is the basis, I think, for me in terms of my work in service. That's really how it started. And I observed her as a female leader. I observed her as the principal of a community college that at the time she was instrumental too in the community college movement.
Right.
And what has now become. Yes, exactly.
And by the way, our foreign woman come from Europe, come in and turn Jamaican.
Sorry, say again?
Is like a foreign woman come from England, come in and turn Jamaican.
Well, she was Scottish. She was Scottish, actually. Her background, yes.
Scottish.
And I was totally taken by that because I saw her as a female leader who was doing so well. And I mean, when Mrs. Stills laughed, she was someone who was very happy. She was a happy person. When she got upset, it was a sight to see. But she was also very happy, and as a result, all of those messages made an impression on me. Mm-hmm. And all my life, whenever I think back to one of the female leaders who has helped to shape me, apart from other female leaders I've met globally, and even here in Jamaica, she has stood out for me as one of those persons.
Right.
So she was instrumental in.
Are we going to go for the break right now?
Me to university.
And different persons listening to this program probably get different things from it. But here is someone who could be a leader in the nursing profession, could do a fantastic job. But because everything is guided by rules and regulations, you have to get a 2 for math. Now, if you ask me, I don't know how would you get 2, 3, or 1 will make you a more caring person. And probably if the person had look at you and say, because you obviously you're a people person, we look for someone who probably got 10 subjects. They did very well. And probably don't care a lot for persons. Probably that's why we're having a problem that we're not having in Jamaica. Even in positions of leadership, we look for people who are very qualified academically, but yet they don't know how to serve. And you mentioned also about Mrs. Stills. She was the one who exposed you to these things, I must tell you. She and other teachers did, because Knox was like that. They exposed you to music, they exposed to drama, give you that kind of thing. Exactly. And I'm trying to get them in Jamaica. Let's go there. Knox has been one of the most revolutionary schools in the whole Caribbean. All the work-study concept. Sorry, I'm going to hit your political and your past leader. You think a Michael Mann, carry work-study thing there. No, they are Knox for a long time. Democracy in education, they Knox for a long time. We are student council and Knox from in the 60s. Long time. Anyhow, I could tell you more. I'd love for some of our Minister of Education to go and study the history of Knox and the philosophy of Dr. Lewis Davidson and to see where we have gone off track. All right, you better give thanks to go and Knox, a good place. And not because I went there, by the way.
You are correct. You're quite correct. Because if you remember, I think Knox was one of the first schools that had a farm.
Oh, yes.
And when we were at the high school, we all wanted to, at some point in time, move across to the community college because they had a whole agricultural section and a farm. When we did cross country for physical education, for PE, we would run up the top, run through the farm area and come right back down.
Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, we have to go for the break, but if I have a time one of these days and probably get some persons and look at what Knox was and what he did and put the educational system, the philosophy, I became a program analyst without studying it. You know why? Because of the training I got at Knox, in logics and so on. All right, this Knox lady here is joking me sides. I need to go for the break.
You're tuned to Vernon Darby. Oh, love, get ready for roller.
Welcome back. You're listening to Rhythm FM, coming to you live from Kingston, Jamaica. I'm your friend, Vernon Darby, and my very special guest is Ethnie Simpson, teacher. She never get fit on nurse. If she turned nurse, she'll probably look after me. We don't want to keep on one because she don't get her one no maths. We don't want to go. She count too much people at the hospital were sick. You want us to be caring. Let me tell you something. That's another thing. This system, we have too many persons who keep down persons because of these so-called rules. I will tell you my personal experience when I went somewhere to apply for a job as an accountant. And of course, I did better in the people subject. And the director said to me, Mr. Darby, you seem to have done better in the people subject, the HR and so on. You're not probably best for a person to be in accounts. I said to him, sir, it is time we persons in accounts understand that the figures affect people. And that's how I got the job. And I will tell you, as much as I'm those myself, still as an accountant, I made a big difference at that place. Major difference. So we must careful how we put persons in boxes, and we must look at what is in that person. And I hope that you bring that to bear if you make it. Now, tell me now, you are a member of the People's National Party, and I know that, Lord, that is a troublesome thing when it comes to the parties, them to select persons to represent them. You can probably walk us through and tell us what is involved for you to be selected, because I know whether it's JLP or PNP, same difference. And they can tear the party apart, especially at the constituency level.
Yes, I am a member of the People's National Party, and how I came to be a member is that I went on my own. No one took me there. I thought about it and made the decision for myself, and I went and paid my membership fee and I was accepted as a direct member, because there is a process. You don't just go ahead and sign up and you automatically become a member, because you need to be referred and recommended by someone, and also that recommendation and entire application process has to be vetted and approved by the executive of the party.
And you don't believe it, because sometimes when in politics, we know how them get in it.
Oh, you're going to mix me up today?
No. You don't have to comment. No. You don't have to comment. You're moving right along. You're moving right along.
So that is the process. In terms of how I came to be in politics, I sort of grew up with particular principles shared by my parents and my grandparents.
Principles?
And
you can't be a politician then, man. You have a problem?
Well, apparently I have a problem, because maybe I'll make a better community person than a politician. But those are guiding principles which I don't think they're mutually exclusive to the tenets of socialism and the tenets of the PNP. And I say that because just this morning I was having a conversation with a friend, and this might sound a little strange, because the way how I see what I believe in is the same way I believe that there's a God, and is the same way that I believe that there are certain things that ground me in my life. And I'll tell you exactly what I mean. The PNP way of thinking is one about kindness, thoughtfulness. You put things in place to make people's lives better, not worse. We are grounded in particular principles of equity, and there is a difference between equality and equity.
What's the difference?
The easiest way to paint that picture so that our listeners can understand is, for example, three of us watching a football match, and we want to watch the match, but there's a fence. And the fence is probably, let's say, 5 feet high. You have one person who is 3 feet tall, the other one is 4 feet tall, the other one is 6 feet tall. So it is clear that standing there at a 5-foot fence, the person who is 6 feet tall can see quite easily. And you come along and you say, listen, I'd like all three of you to be able to watch the match. If you apply the principle of equality, I can get a 2-foot box, 2 feet tall, and I give to each one. They all got something that is equal, 2 feet. Who will it help? If you give the 3-foot tall person a 2-foot box to stand on, then now he's just about at the height of the fence, but can he see over it? The person who is 4, and you gave them 2 feet to stand on, they're now at 6. So now they can see over the fence.
Right.
And the person who is 6 foot tall, you gave him a 2-foot. He never needed it. A 2-foot box to stand on. He never really needed it, because he was seeing already. If you apply the principle now of equity,
they give all the same height.
Right. So the principle of PNP, to each his need, that is what you provide.
But hear what now? When Michael Manley came up with that, idea of equality and so on, that's what I think with politics you have to be careful of. Many persons interpret it to mean that if you have one cow, you must cut it in half, and me get half and you get half. And guess what?
That's not the only. That's not the only way of seeing it.
No, that's how many saw it,
No, say that again.
And when Michael Manley decided, say, let me give the poor people a little work and they not earn no money, and get them crash program work. You know what they do? Then go stomp on the road and cook food and enjoy themselves. So I'm telling you this, that while a politician might, just like Mr. Siaga had this great idea of having what they call it Tivoli Gardens. It's named after a garden, I think, it's in Italy or one of those places. But what it became is something else. Because the people decide, say, it's not going to be a garden, it's going to be a garrison. So that's the problem you face. The
crash program approach to anything does not work.
Right.
So whether it is politics or social development or whatever it is, behavior change, it does not work.
It doesn't work, yeah.
And what we're saying is that as a party, we're more interested in teaching people how to feed themselves.
How to fish.
Teaching a man how to fish rather than providing the fish. Because if you look to me every single day,
by the way, you lose before you start.
Work.
Miss say you lose before you start. When you buck up a man on the road, I see you run.
No, Mr. Darby, hold on, we're talking two different things here. You let me be very clear, right? The point I'm making is, as a principle, we believe in equity. That's one. Two, we believe in helping persons to see their way forward. Because the same person who comes to you today, if I buck up somebody and say, Miss Miller, beg you $100 now. If I have it, I'll give it. And also, spend the time to have a conversation with the person if they're willing to speak.
And then they come back to you tomorrow, come beg your money again. And then you have 1, 2, 3 picking.
Exactly, but here's the thing. You now have to know the persons that you're going to give the $100 to and the ones that you're going to say, no, I don't have it today. And even if you have it, you stop with them and say, listen, talk to me a little while. Why are you out here begging on the street? What's the situation? Because the thing is, you can't meet people where they are and leave them there.
Right. But hear the joke now. If you do that, and other politicians are not doing that, and all them are looking, I look like a sal. Well, first time I look a saltfish. Now them are look ABC. You have a problem, So until the political...
This is part of the reason that political parties have more of a responsibility to educate. Let's go back there.
Yes.
Because education is not just book learning in a classroom,
Hello, me have copyright to that. How come you can chat with me a chat? Me have copyright to
because
that.
I went to the same good school that you went to. Same good school.
Yes.
Yeah, man, we have to educate people. And, it's one of the questions you may ask me at some point in time in terms of what are the 3 things that I am anchoring my campaign on. And I will tell you this. These words were arrived at in a conversation, which means that I want you to understand and hear me well. I don't do many things alone. I don't do many things alone.
Yes.
The intention is people must be involved. At least invite them and let them refuse. So this conversation that I had with a comrade yielded these 3 words that I think we're going to be using to anchor what we do here. Is 1, educate, elevate, and generate.
Elevate, educate, and generate.
Yes. So we must educate people, first and foremost, so that we can elevate them and inspire them to want more. I think Jamaicans have traditionally been an ambitious set of people. In time, though, we've seen where some of that ambition is not as strong as it used to be in particular areas. And in other areas, that ambition has just gone off the chain, right? And the last word I'll share there is the generate. We have to get to a point where our people are making their own money, generating their own wealth. Entrepreneurship has to be a core principle and a core part of what we're doing.
But why should they, when they have 6, 7 people and they can go to the MP and beg him money, when the MP can get them money, people for money for pick them go to school? And the MP, they put on the movement, for them picnic.
It's the same way that they can break into your house and steal things and steal the pig and steal whatever you have. You understand? But is that the way? Is that what we want? Because you see, I'm not going to answer every single question. I will ask questions in response to something you have said. And to put you on the spot and say, all right, now come, you give me an answer. Because you see, my role as a politician here is not to come with all the answers. I learned very early in life, even with teaching, when you go into a classroom, you don't assume that the children are all empty vessels. Some may be. At different points, they may be. And some will come with information you, the teacher, never bargained on.
Yes.
It's the same principle in politics. You see, sometimes, we cannot disrespect the people. We disrespect our people, and we assume that they have nothing. Because they've been taught that they have nothing. And it's not true. There's a little man's doctor, when I just came, all the way over in Zion Gate, doctor saw me. And he said, Miss Miller, just remember to stay with the people. Same principle that Michael Manley taught all of us, right? Stay with the people. Listen to the people. They will tell you what it is that they actually need. And just like when you're cooking something and you let the top of it burn off, Let the froth and everything burn off, and then sit down with that person and really listen to what they have to tell you.
But right
and
now,
they will tell you the issues that they're having in the community.
Right now, I don't think the nation really understand what is the role for MP, that our MP's role is to be a legislator. There's this discussion now going on. And you're talking about persons who are intellectuals, and I hope they can understand the point I'm making. They will tell you that MP should have a job description. And I'm trying to explain to a number of persons that an MP cannot be classified the same way as a worker who has a job description. What you can have, you can probably have a code of conduct and responsibilities of that MP. But in terms of your job responsibility, no, he's a leader. And when you're a leader, you can't put yourself into a box and say this is your job description. I probably can work in it, but there's just the concept of job description for a leader. It does not sit very well with me at all. Job description is for a worker. But as a leader, you have to motivate. As I said to some persons, the Prime Minister do nothing. And you do nothing in your community, but you motivate your people. You have done your job.
So let me ask you a question. If it is that you're out of the constituency and the community and your role is to motivate, how do you define that motivation? How do you measure that motivation? What are the metrics you're going to use for that motivation? And then if there's any, I wouldn't even attach remuneration, but let us stay with it. How do you remunerate equally, equitably for that?
Well, I don't agree. There's no one way I believe in remunerating politicians. It's based on the gross domestic product or per capita income. Simple as that. This whole idea of somebody go to parliament and who perform, you give them more money. No, the leaders, you don't get leaders into that. You don't.
No, but I will say this. You may not necessarily need a job description slavishly.
Yes.
And I add that word, right? Because I get the point that you're making. However, I do believe that you do need some kind of guiding principles.
Guidelines. That's what I said.
You do need a document.
Yeah.
You do need a document that we all are going to sign to and agree to and be measured by. Because let me say this.
But let me tell you something though, this whole idea of some like a group going to assess an MP.
No.
Because you'll be trying to defeat the democratic process. The people.
Yes, but let's blend a little politics. Let's blend politics now with some management principles, right? The same way that as a CEO for a company, there are metrics to measure my performance. It is the same way as a CEO for a country. There ought to be metrics to measure my performance.
Good. And I'm going to answer that one. A political leader is not a CEO. Let me tell you why I think that way. I know I'm probably thinking very strange nowadays. The way a head of a company function, a prime minister cannot function. That's why some people in the private sector cannot understand why some political leaders do what they do. That is why you have the civil service. That is why you have the secretary of whatever you call it. That's why you have the permanent secretary. They are the ones in charge.
But here what is happening in Jamaica. Let's call a spade a spade.
Right.
Quite a few of the technocrats who are supposed to be in there running the ministries are not technocrats in the real sense. And that brings up another issue. So if you want me to go there, I'll go there with you.
Why not? Right? So long as it will not. Yes, go ahead.
The structure needs to be maintained in a particular way. Now here is where we need to go back a little bit, right? And we're starting with education. If it is that our people have lost that understanding, we've lost it. That understanding of how politics really ought to work. Not the contrived machinations that we're now having in this country. Right? And I'm speaking very clearly and very carefully. Good? When we were children, we were taught some things through civics. We understood how
civics?
The structure
What's
of
that?
A country.
Hold
on, Mr. Darwin. Hold on, right? So we were taught these things. I remember when we were children, every time we had an election and our leaders changed, we had to learn and we knew who was the new Minister of Education, who was the new Minister of Health, who was the new Minister of so-and-so. We understood how the agencies work, etc. To a point, because we were children, right? But that never left us. When we now take a high school, not even high school, a primary school child, and ask them certain things. Grade 6, grade 5, grade 6 child. Or you take a third form student at any given school and you ask certain questions. You're amazed at the answers that you get. For example, in school challenge quiz. When they put up the picture of a leader in this country and they ask, who is this person? And those are children who ought to know because they should be watching the television at night, watching the news, and they have so much access now to information that you would never think that they would make that kind of mistake, but they do. So let me say this.
By the way, I don't call information, I said they have access to confusion. When I went to school, we had access to information.
I'll go there with you. I'll go there with you in a second, but let me finish this, right? So in terms of educating our people as to the structure, as to what people are supposed to deliver, because let me say this, we've got to a point where we don't want to hold people accountable anymore.
Yeah.
And if we're trying to hold people accountable, it is according to numerous rules. And they're all disparate, different. That cannot work. That can't work, You understand? So therefore, and I'm going to share something with you here. I say to persons as I walk around the community, we're going to get to a point where we sit down, have a meeting. I ask what the problems are. You give me some solutions. I will add some solutions. We come together as a group here. And I'm writing it down, You know why? When I win, I'm coming back to you with that piece of paper, right? And I'm going to say, these are the things we agreed. Are we still agreed on these things? All right, now, let's put them in order of priority. If we're going to fix road, which road? Because remember, you're not emptying a fixed road.
That's where the job is. They don't fix road, exactly.
That has to come through parish council and your councils, right? Mm-hmm. So you need to educate people. When person said to me, Ms. Miller, we will need a road, I said, okay, that has to be routed through your councillors. And if it, well, I'm not even going to go there. If it is that people after 20 or 30 years are saying that they never get this and they never get that, but we had an MP, we've had councillors here, and people are still dissatisfied. That's a whole different conversation, right? Mm-hmm. But it's the education around that needs to happen first. I can't elevate somebody's spirit until they are educated. And I'm not talking book learning. Mm-hmm. It's just sitting down and sharing information that they need. And they have to know that they need it.
You mentioned something about civics in school. If children are not learning civics, the best assessors for political leaders are their constituents. Not some intellectuals who decide they're going to incorporate 5 criteria and whatever. No. And the only problem I have is it shouldn't be 5, it should be 4. And if you can properly assess your leaders, we don't call it job description, but you know what they're supposed to do. You just don't vote them in back. Simple as that. But the people in this country, for them barely get full, no, not even full, and then get piece of salt, which I want to drink a beer, then quite all right. And for the mouth sweet, just like women. If a man go to a woman and say, listen, I want to work to you and build and defense, and I want to have 2 children and talk to you, so what kind of idiot that? But if a man go to her and say, baby, I buy one BMW, and boy, man, me tell him, I'll build a big house and where me have money, and she don't say no money, and guess what? I the man we are full of, she going to fall in love with. And I have always used that.
I have a question. I have a question. You buy the BMW and give the person, they drive it for a while. They didn't know that they need to put oil in there. They didn't know that they need to put gas in there. They didn't know that they need to change the tires. They're coming back to you for another BMW?
They're not busy with that. When I reach so they're find out. You know what?
No, Mr. Darby, that is part of our issue. Respectfully, that's part of our issue in this country.
By the way, I must tell you, that I don't like the term job description, but I'm giving you your job description as to what we need to change about the people. Right? Need to change about it, because guess what? If them don't change, they are going to be looking to you for the same thing, the same leaky, beggy, same thing that they get from other politicians. And it has not helped Jamaica.
Which is correct. But you notice the middle ground I'm striking?
Yes.
If a man comes to me and he's hungry on that day, I have no problem giving him food.
Right.
But the next time when he comes to me and I'm going to say to him, it's about 3 or 4 times now I've given you some food. What is going on? Hold on. Talk to me now. Mm-hmm. What happened? You're not working?
Well, guess what? No. If I don't take a break, if I don't take a break, no, see, I will. Hold on, I have to tell you, if I don't take a break now, I will not eat a food. You see, so let me take a break. All right, you're listening to Rhythm FM. I'm gonna go for the break right now. We're having a very interesting conversation with my guest, Ethnie Simpson.
You're tuned to Vernon Darby. Oh, love. Yeah.
Welcome back. You're listening to Rhythm FM, coming to you live from Kingston, Jamaica. I'm your friend Vernon Darby, and my very special guest is Ethnie Simpson. And I've been having a very interesting discussion with her. You're back with us?
Yes, I am.
Good. We only have, 4 minutes, and I've now appointed you as the Prime Minister of Jamaica, so you will now speak to the nation.
Oh, dear. Wow. That is quite an appointment, and that is a heavy weight, That is a heavy weight to carry.
All right, so you're losing some time there now, so go right ahead. You only have 3 minutes left.
Jamaicans at home and abroad, thank you for the opportunity of sharing my thoughts with you. And I would like to thank you also for inviting me into your life, into your perspective. Jamaica is at a turning point, and I believe that we have to make this turn together. What is required is for us to identify even further quite a few of the challenges that we're having. Some are very well known, and some are not known. And to take the turn together. Taking that path forward is going to require us to have a better understanding of the future, where we can go, what we can do, and what we can do together. So, speaking on behalf of an entire nation, we need to look back at what we're good at and then to embrace some of the things that we have, we have not thought about ever before. Technology and education need to ground everything that we're doing in this country. And of course, we cannot leave out agriculture because we need to feed ourselves. But if you notice, taking technology into agriculture, taking technology into health, taking technology into education and all the different services, all the different industries, is the way forward. And we've seen that happening globally. Now, what does that mean for you? It means a partnership between you, your children, your family, and us that represent the government. And that partnership needs to be one of mutual respect, one where we ensure that we maintain the dignity of every single Jamaican who lives here, whether in Jamaica or in the diaspora. That path forward is one of mutual respect, kindness, love, sharing, all things that we grew up with, but we may have been putting aside and forgetting that these things are really important. So the pathway forward is one of grounded education through technology, grounded health services through technology, grounded social services using technology, which requires greater bandwidth. It requires, a build-out of our technology infrastructure, but technology cannot be implemented at the cost of the people. So we need to sit with you. We need to have this conversation as we move forward. Thank you.
One comment I will make.
Yes, please.
You're not easy.
Jeez, you put me on the spot, Vernon.
Spot on. What did this program is called? Spot on. I put you on the spot and you were spot on. Well, time will tell. The philosophies that you have and the ideas and the principles. Let's see if the people will change with you. Because if they don't change, dog, nyam your supper.
Well, there may not be any supper for us to eat. But I will
until you say no easy, there might be no supper to eat. Listen, let me thank you very, very much, Ethnie Simpson. She's seeking to represent the Manchester North Eastern for the PMP, so she could be going up against Mr. Ardishaw, my schoolmate, and she also went to Knox. So what a thing. Thank you very much. You have a wonderful day, man.